So today we have a 2 for the price of 1 video. And by price, I mean you pay nothing whatsoever to watch this video, which we will definitely get into. Because today we're going to get to test the lather of all of the 6 sea moss soaps that we've been working on throughout the sea moss project. And we also get to talk about the He-Man Woman Haters Club of the soap making variety that has decided to make me a target of their harassment because soap lady bad. We will get into all of that and I'll tell you more about it in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff.
Oh, raise your right hand. Your other right hand.
How's it going, Sudzers? Welcome back to the channel. You're at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you're here, as I said, for the lather test for the 6 sea moss soaps that we've been working on throughout the sea moss challenge. And we're going to be testing their performance to determine whether or not the soaps are impacted positively or negatively by the ways in which I incorporated the sea moss itself into the recipes. Now, to keep everything tight throughout this experiment, we obviously use the same basic recipe across all 6 soaps, and I just adjusted how I put the sea moss into the soaps. Speaking of recipes, let's talk about how I managed to get a group of dude bro soapers that apparently hate all the drama that comes from female soapers super hot and bothered, and weirdly it didn't have anything to do with me talking about bananas. Okay, so I got this comment on this video asking why I did not post the recipe and ingredients in the description box. So this guy, who we are going to call Do It All Jim, or Ethan, he might also be Ethan. I'm not 100% sure though, because that's also definitely a fake name that was attached to a fake and undeliverable email address that he used to harass me on my website. So crazy that this man is out here with his full anonymous chest getting big mad at the female soaper and is so cowardly that he can't even handle the potential to have a response, you know, via email. So I guess this is my response here. Anyway, Do It All Jim is just doing the most right now, and he thinks that the comment that I left in response to his comment was super rude. And so we're going to go ahead and talk about that. Why are we going to talk about that? Well, for a number of reasons. 1, it's my channel and I can do what I want. 2, I actually think that this is an important life lesson for the Sudzers. And 3, because harassment is bad. Now, first up, let's give some context about the banana soap. This banana soap was a video that I posted about a year ago, and it was part of a series wherein we were just putting weird stuff in lye to see how it impacted the overall lather and the performance of the bars at the end. And much like with the sea moss soaps, we kept the recipe the same and we tested the soaps at the end. I think we had 7 that we tested with all of that. And so it was an experiment week. It was definitely soapy tests, how it says there in the thumbnail. Interestingly, nowhere in the title, in the thumbnail, or in the description does it say that I will be giving a recipe. So that you are coming into my comments, first-time commenter, expecting one? Questioning why it's not there? What exactly does that smack of to you? Now, I've been doing this for a while, and I am a pretty good judge of what kind of energy somebody's coming at me in the comments, especially for a first-time commenter, especially something like this. This smacked of all things entitled. And so I actually responded with what I think are very valid questions. Why would you expect this? How much of this process do you want me to do for you? I have made the soap, I've made the recipe, I've filmed the soap, I've edited the video, I've put the video online for you to enjoy literally free of charge. YouTube is a free application after all, so it's weird that you think you should be somehow entitled to my brain, to my knowledge, at any point. That said, even if I don't give recipes like written out, or I say that I'm not going to give a recipe, I usually 90% of my videos, I'm breaking down the recipe within the soap making itself, because that's how we teach here, because that's how we grow and we learn. So it's very interesting that this guy was unable to, I don't know, watch the video and get the information that he was looking for. Because my channel is so focused on breaking down the science and helping the sudsers understand the why and the how behind the actual recipe, this is the thing that I focus on. This is my soapy contribution to the YouTubes, because I do feel like it actually does help you become a better soap maker that can build your own recipes when we do it this way. Regardless of whether or not you agree with that, that is how this channel is run. And for you to come in here and assume, Mr. Do-It-All Jim, that it should be run different is quite frankly ridiculous. But to that, just across the board, nobody is entitled to give you a recipe anywhere at any time or for any reason. And for you to assume that that should just exist because it's a soap video is like the definition of entitlement. Now, the thing is, with this comment alone, I had no way of knowing that I was actually dealing with an incel. That became clear as the rest of Do-It-All Jim's exploits throughout the day transpired, which we'll get to. But I did clock his entitlement from the jump. First-time commenter, not engaging with the subject matter, just asking to know where something was that he believes he should have access to. That's a hard no for me, dog. Now, as I said, I've been dealing with this for a while, and usually with comments like this, it results in a soft block. For those of you who may not know, a soft block is what a creator can do to any commenter that's on their channel, and they can just go ahead and hide the user. And so what that means is that the user can still engage with the videos, they can still comment on the videos, they can still view the videos, but nobody except the user sees any of those comments. So basically they're just screaming into the void, which is my favorite way of dealing with these people. Now, I do this reasonably often on the channel to protect the integrity of the Sudser community, because the Sudsers are this group of really smart, awesome, thoughtful, knowledgeable, compassionate, caring, and kind people. And if you're not entitled to my brain and my energy, you're not entitled to theirs either. Ultimately, if I think you're going to bring the vibes down, I will totally block you and I'll just move on with my life. Every once in a while, though, if I haven't had my coffee or I'm feeling a little froggy, I'll go ahead and engage and I'll meet you at your energy and respond, which I did, with, again, what I think are very valid questions. Now, you may think that I could have been nicer, but first, why should I be? Second, what was mean? And third, why in the world would anyone assume that I was not going to get the same reaction from Do-It-All Jim than I ultimately did? Unless, of course, I had responded with something to the effect of, oh my gosh, I am so sorry, silly me with my girl brain that doesn't understand how things work. I'm super sorry that my existence on the planet inconvenienced you. So ultimately, that very weak justification that came from another dude soap bro guy trying to defend his buddy, yeah, that's the biggest cope I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, we were off to the races at that point, and Do-It-All Jim proceeded to angry type in my comment section for a little bit, and then take this fight to a Facebook group that we're going to talk about, as well as to my website, where he and some of his buddies started harassing me via email. I probably should have told you to strap in, because this gets wild. Something that I do really love from his initial comment, though, you know, the whole, but I can now see your channel and my comments are not worth my time. I mean, I'm glad that you recognize that your comments are not worth your time. They're not worth mine either. But you know what they say about if you enjoy the time that you're wasting, it's not wasted time? I'm having a ball. After this comment thread, again, as I said, he went to a Facebook group, and this Facebook group is called Soap Making Dudes. And in the About section, their mission statement says this group was created because male soap makers are the minority in almost every soap making group on Facebook. Oh my gosh, you guys. Male soap makers have a lot to offer, just as the women do, but with far less drama. All in caps. That means it's important. This group will remain respectable to each other and offer suggestions and guidance to one another, no matter the years or months making soap. This group covers hot process, cold process, melt and pour soaps. Our main focus is everything soap related, and even discuss bath bombs. My goodness, bath bombs. At any rate, this is what Do-It-All Jim posted on this page, and says, I was reminded today why I'm a part of Only Dudes soap page. I was merely asking for ingredients and amounts for a banana peel soap for a YouTube video from a year ago. Guess a simple no would have worked. Rude comments back wasn't necessary. That being said, does anybody have a decent recipe for banana peel soap? So we're going to break this down in a couple of ways. First up, I love that that was his follow-up to all of it, because the whole context of the video that he was just coping and seething so hard about was you could just put a banana peel into any lye solution for any recipe and it's going to be awesome in the soap. That's cool. Second, don't tone police me. This is my channel. I get to say what I want here. Do not tell me how to do what I do here. I don't go to your spot under the bridge and tell you how to troll. I mean, I do now, kind of, but you did bring this to my house. So let's keep this in mind. Context is important. Also, speaking of context, I also find it interesting that he left out, you left out, Do It All Jim, you left out the first comment that you actually posted. So I don't know, what? Make it seem like Soap Lady was bad and super duper mean? And maybe that was your goal and it worked and you manipulated some of these dude bro guys into what they ultimately ended up doing. Or maybe they're all just, coded to be that anyway, because what proceeded at that point on that page was nothing but an ad hominem attack on me. And female soap makers in general, and our very fragile, silly little minds. Which was gross. And it's actually not fair for me to say that all of them engaged, because they didn't. The reason why I know that they didn't is because this was such an inappropriate attack on me that members of their own community started hitting me up via email to alert me of the situation. They said that they didn't feel safe in their community, and that sucks. Now, for the Sudser community, yeah, we like the dude soapers. We like all soapers. Every soaper is welcome in our community, embraced, accepted, loved, championed. Unless, of course, you're a do-it-all Jim, in which case you get the boot almost immediately. But yeah, no, we do accept all soapers, and we do not engage in any of the petty infighting, any of the drama, any of the anything. The last thing in the world that I would want is for the Sudser community to feel like they were unsafe, like they weren't in a safe space. I work very hard to keep the safe space that they have built safe for all of them. And so it's actually very devastating that people from this community came to me, the target of the harassment, to warn me what was coming. And to the people that did that, thank you. That is a very, very cool thing that you did for a stranger on the internet that you didn't have to do. So thank you. The harassment that did follow was ultimately pretty obscene, including this message, which was the first one that came off, which is why I think it was probably from Do It All Jim, that says, "Hi, if you can't respect other fellow soapers asking you a simple question and you get your granny panties in a bunch, then piss off Karen." Punctuation is, be courteous to others when they ask you a question. Female soapers are the worst. Toodles, hugs and kisses. It's the misogyny for me. That particular response, as I said earlier, came from a fake email address. They didn't even bother to use like a dummy, like a throwaway email address that they still had access to. They just in whole cloth made up an email address because I guess they were that afraid of actually hearing a response. And that was pretty much the same for the rest of the attacks that I was getting through at the site as well. And so it just speaks volumes about the fragility of these men that feel that they are so shooketh because a person on the internet, and a woman to that, did not give you exactly what it is that you wanted. That's crazy. So ultimately, like with everything that I do, I'm going to turn this into a teaching moment. What can we learn from Do It All Jim? First, don't be anything like Do It All Jim. Don't be entitled. Do not come at a creator and tone police just because they are giving back the same energy that you gave them. Do not then engage in ad hominem attacks with your buddies and that then escalates into full-on harassment, which is against the law, with anybody. Don't do it. Don't be like Jim. This is not a good place for you to be. As far as moderating soap making communities, I think it might be a good idea to implement into this one an additional policy that I keep and maintain with the Sudsers, in that we do not bash or say anything negative about other soap makers in our community ever. We don't do it. You never know when they're going to be there, first and foremost. But secondly, we don't want the drama. For all of the bloviating about how you believe that female soapers are all drama filled, this is something that I'm going to definitely take you to task for right now. And then Do It All Jim, I forget that you exist. But you spent your whole day hung up, hot and bothered over someone on the internet denying you access to her brain, her information. I'm also going to take this as an opportunity to yet again thank the Sudsers in a very big, meaningful way. Because you guys are not like this, because you have built such an amazing community full of people who genuinely enjoy helping each other, who help me. We all go through this content creation journey together. The CMOS journey was one that you all selected and that you are actively participating in troubleshooting and sleuthing with. This is the community that I built. This is why I exist on the YouTubes. And because you guys are so awesome and you continue to build this awesome community, this is why I police the YouTube section and everything so heavily. Because I do not want to bring anybody in who's going to hurt this very awesome thing that we have going. So thank you for being awesome and continuing to show that there are really amazing people out there in the world just generally, but that also happen to be soap makers that would not ever do this to another human. And for the rest of it on my end, the ad hominem attacks, the harassment emails, I mean, whatever. All the crap that came from the Dude Soap Bros page, whatever. Incels are going to incel. And I've already taken care of it on the back end, so I don't even see it anymore. And interestingly enough, with all of that, while you guys are leaving fake email addresses, you certainly aren't doing much to mask your IPs. And so it's actually hilarious how much information I get from you just by right-clicking and checking the source code. Something to think about for your next harassment campaign. Or, don't think about it. I really don't care. But at the end of the day, you are not welcome here. And this is also, I guess, a call to any other person who is on this video, maybe lurking in the Sudser community for two reasons. One, the lurkers that are in the Sudser community that feel like maybe they don't have a safe space, you do here. As long as you are continuing to be respectful to the other Sudsers, the other commenters, as well as to me, and you're engaging in productive discourse, then you're welcome. And you have a place, you have a safe space to land all of the time. For lurkers that may be here, that maybe think that Jim was in the right here, you're obviously welcome to go, because for me, you're not welcome here. Okay? But to that, Sudsers, I actually do have an action item for you, because Big Jim over here really wanted it done. Email that he sent me, I need you to go and find someone named Karen and piss them off. I think it will make Do-It-All Jim feel very, very good about his very productive day of harassing a female. For the Karens that are actually in the Sudser community, I apologize in advance. But what the mans wants, the mans is gonna get. Except, of course, for my recipe. All typed out, neatly delivered to you to mean that you put no work whatsoever into your soap making journey. That you can never have. Anyway, now that we've addressed the misogyny of it all, let's get on to the CMOS soaps and the tests. And it's going to be a short one, but that's okay, because I just spent a whole bunch of time, outlining all the big saga that's been going on. So the 6 CMOS soaps, they were all done wildly different levels of frustration more than anything. And I am excited to test. I have been telling you that I've been concerned about the amount of the minerals that are in these CMOS soaps. And I'm wondering what is going to happen within these tests. I'm thinking that the lather would be really light and maybe a slimy feel to the actual texture of the bar. But I don't know, because this is a test that we're doing in real time with you right now. I mean, quasi real time, because I'll go film this and then you get it. Anyway, let's get to the testing of the 6 CMOS soaps and see if that is going to be a good and beneficial inclusion in our soap recipes moving forward. Okay, so you guys are going to actually think that I just buried this entire, test thing and me being a clown and being wrong behind, 20 minutes of drama or whatever, just because I didn't want to admit that I was wrong, because I am so wrong. The lather on all of these ended up being so extraordinary. This is the very first one that we made, and such a big bubble right off the bat, like barely any water, barely any manipulation with the hand. So gorgeous, and it feels really nice. And honestly, also, this bar doesn't look nearly as unhealthy as it did when we first, cut them. And so after a couple months of cure, it's not terrible. And so, yeah, no, I don't know. That's pretty gorgeous. This is the only thing that's different in this recipe, right? So we have the basic 3. So it's the equal parts olive oil, coconut oil, and palm, 5% super fat. The ratios for the water was basically the same as I always use, except for the CMOS. I did incorporate into the first 4, so it's extra moisture. It's a little bit longer of a cure time because we had to get rid of the rest of the water. But and the kaolin clay, and that's it. Like, there's nothing really big. We didn't put any extra bubblers or anything in it to give it that lather, and it's very extraordinary. The hand slip on these is so good. I mean, I'm in love with everything about this. The things that I did notice, though, these 2 soaps here, as I said, these were the first 2 soaps that I incorporated the sea moss, 3 ounces of the sea moss gel into the soaps. Remember, I had a problem with it being chunky, all the jazz, and they are still kind of soft. They are still losing weight, so it's going to take a lot longer to cure out. So definitely, I would recommend making reducing the amount of water that you put into your soaps, ultimately. Now, this was the soap that we did, and it was supposed to be purple, and it discolored because of the scent to a brown, and I think that was because of the white strawberry rose that was in it, but the purple on the bottom discolored to orange regardless, as we saw with the final 2 soaps. And this had a really tight, tiny little bubbles. Very, very cool, very foamy lather to it. And this was the one, if I'm remembering correctly, where we put the sea moss into the lye solution just whole, right? And so we definitely didn't get the big bubble payoff from that. So I would say don't do it just whole. You should definitely try to at least get a gel out of it and incorporate it that way so you can get more of the awesomeness. So we're learning. And this one, immediate payoff. So gorgeous. This was the final one that I did, and I put a crap ton more water in and blended it down more, the sea moss gel that I was having a problem with. And as you can see, big, beautiful lather at the very beginning, but we ended up with these really tight, tiny bubbles too. And so I would say maybe that means there's too much water, not enough gel, because the first 2 were great, you know? Now, these 2 would be the ones that we did with the proper gel recently, and they've only had about a week of a cure before doing this. And as you can see, the lather comes out right away. Such a big bubble payoff immediately. And again, this is not my big bubble blend. So I think that that's definitely a win, considering it's still a very soft bar and not fully cured. That lather is just going to get better and more gorgeous as it continues to lose its water weight. So I would say that is a winner too. We have 3 ounces of the actual sea moss that we put into the lye solution and in place of the waters. That's right. And then for the second one here, we did 3 ounces of the gel into the lye solution in place of 3 ounces of water, as well as 3 ounces of the gel into the soap oils and blended them into the soap oils themselves. And this one, very, very creamy lather. I think I might have, I don't know. I still love the lather. So I don't really know that I hit a point where it's too much. And so I'm thinking ultimately, what do you think? Is there such thing as too much sea moss? I did 8% is ultimately what this all came out to be with everything. So I'm thinking 8% works. No more than 10%, I would say still, because the minerals, but overall, those bars are gorgeous. So yeah, I'm a clown. I'm a complete and total clown. That lather was great. Every single one of them felt so good. The slip on it was extraordinary. It felt so smooth in the hand. Some of them had some really tight, dense bubbles, which I really love and think would be a really good benefit for shave soaps, you know? And so I really do like them all. I have a favorite within all of them, but definitely let me know what your favorite is in the comments and we can have a conversation about that. But yeah, no, officially, I'm a clown. And when I'm wrong, I will totally say that I'm wrong. And I was wrong here. There was none lather inhibition within any of this. That said, I would still recommend for people that are dealing with hard water concerns, which I do not deal with, I would recommend putting in some citric acid within a recipe with sea moss anyway, just to be safe so we don't end up with unnecessary soap scum. But for the rest of it, yeah, do it. If you can figure out the gel process, which we talked about in yesterday's video, then it's going to be an awesome time for you, you know? Again, let me know what you guys all think about the soaps in the comments below. Sudsers, thank you for existing. I mean that every single day, but today I super mean it. Thank you to the people who alerted me of the drama. Thank you for the people who provided levity to me through the drama while weird men were sending me unsolicited emails. Like that was their right. I really appreciate it. I really do. And to the rest of it, I mean, you guys can clown and have your fun down here below today, but tomorrow we're moving on. Do it all, Jim, doesn't exist here anymore. Speaking of tomorrow, we will be starting the cosmetics round of the sea moss soaps tomorrow. I have made some masks. I have made some balms. I have made some serums. I have made some lotions. And I am going to have to put them all on my face. And that's crazy because I was telling you about the smell of the sea. It's going to be a wild journey and you should stick around for it. But until then, I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of sea moss infused soapy fun. Bye.